welcome back to Cruising as Crew. In today's video, we are going to discuss whether it is better to go on a brand new cruise ship or go on a more established cruise ship as a crew member. So yes, we are back on the cruise ship topics. And basically this video stemmed from me going on Cunard's brand new ship, the Queen Anne, like 3 weeks ago, and then going on P&O's Aurora 2 weeks ago. So you've got a brand new Cunard ship, and then you've got Aurora, which is the oldest cruise ship in the P&O fleet. So two very different things. And this got me thinking about my experience on cruise ships and, you know, like going on Virgin Voyages, for example, and that was not only a brand new ship, but a brand new cruise line, and all of the great things and the not so great things about being on a brand new ship and everything that comes with it. And then thinking about when I went on P&O Oceania and Royal Caribbean, like Radiance and stuff, and going on the more established cruise ships and what that entails. So I just wanted to make a video going through the pros and cons of each, because if you're thinking about working on a cruise ship, this is probably something that you want to know, whether it's going to be better for you to go on a more established cruise ship or a brand new cruise ship, depending on your personality. Now, I'm not expecting that in this video I'm going to give you the answer, but you know yourself better than anybody, so by what I say, hopefully you will be able to make a decision. But of course there are going to be some of you that won't get to decide what ship you go on. Very few people do for their, you know, for their first contract. You just get placed on a ship and you deal with it. But maybe you're watching this and you've done a few contracts, so you do have the opportunity to select your cruise ship, and you may have the opportunity to select going on a brand new cruise ship. Like I know a few friends who went on the Sun Princess, which was recently launched, and some are liking it and some are regretting it. So anyway, let's get into this video. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the pros of going on a brand new cruise ship. I mean, it's exciting. There's so much anticipation for the launch. There's been so many man hours put into, you know, creating the ship, the spaces on board, the entertainment that's going to be offered on board, even the food. So everyone is really excited about the role that they're playing on board. And I remember when I was on Virgin and, you know, Scarlet, we were setting it up. This was before 2020. There was just such an electric atmosphere. Like, everyone was so pumped to be there. So the excitement is definitely a huge pro. And then also there's the fact that there's no passengers. Now hear me out. Obviously we love the passengers. That's the whole point of, you know, the job, serving the passengers on their holiday. But for example, I was in the shops, so we were setting up the shops. The banter was fantastic, you know, because there's no passengers on board, you don't have to be careful with what you say, you turn up to work in your sweats, you are, you know, putting things on shelves or maybe even installing things. The same for people who work in the bars department or the culinary department. You know, I remember in the bars, like on Virgin, we would walk through the half made up bar area and all the bar staff would be having like cocktail making classes, because obviously that's going to be their job. So they were learning how to make the signature cocktails that they offer in that certain bar on board the cruise ship, and they were just having such a laugh with it. And some of my favourite memories ever of working on cruise ships were those weeks on Scarlet when we were setting it up, and Valiant as well, when we were setting it up and no passengers on board. We were just going to work every day, having incredible banter. It was just a really wonderful, wonderful time. So those are my like two best pros for going on a brand new ship. The cons of going on a brand new ship: when you do eventually launch, it's going to be a shit show. And it doesn't matter how well prepared the crew are. No one's ever done this before, and especially on Virgin, that was like quite a special case, because obviously it's not just a brand new ship, it's a brand new cruise line. So that was especially interesting when we launched. But like the Queen Anne, I definitely heard reports that their first few cruises have not gone ultra smooth because, you know, the crew members are still getting used to things and how things were. And that's going to make your job way more stressful than it would be if you went on a more established cruise ship, for example. Like if you're a waitress, you're taking people's orders, people are yelling at you because maybe they've been waiting an hour and a half for their dinner, but you know, there's only so much you can do if the chef hasn't cooked it. You're trying to keep people calm. Maybe you're still figuring out where table numbers are. And this also filters down to like crew office and crew needs being met. You know, if you go on a brand new ship, let's say you go into your crew cabin and your light doesn't work. Every crew member on that brand new ship is gonna have something in their cabin that doesn't work. Maybe the door doesn't lock. I mean, you've got hundreds of crew members every day going to crew office trying to get their need met. So you do have to be very, very patient when it comes to getting your needs met by like crew office. So the thing with launching a brand new cruise ship is the lead up to it, it's going to be really fun, it's going to be really exciting, and also the launch is going to be really exciting. For those first few weeks when the ship actually launches and you have passengers on board, it is going to be stressful. There are going to be tears. There's also going to be a lot of laughter, but there is almost some kind of trauma bond that you get with your fellow colleagues because you're all going through this shit show together and really having to lean on each other. That is the main con, I would say, that when the ship eventually launches, rest assured that it will be a shit show for a while. The second con is that you are going to work probably more hours than you usually would. This does depend on what department you work in, but you're going to go on this cruise ship and need to set it up for whatever department you're working in. You're not going to be working standard hours where you're just serving customers or, you know, doing your job in a normal day-to-day. Days are going to be long, they're going to be hard, there's going to be heavy lifting. I mean, again, it depends what department you're in. I was in the shops, so it just seemed like there was delivery after delivery after delivery, and I was like, I don't think my back can take any more deliveries. You know, and like we were putting in shelves. I mean, you can literally go back and watch the vlogs of us or me and, you know, my colleagues setting up Virgin Voyages, and it's so fun to watch actually and see how it was. But the days were long. The days were very, very long. You know, sometimes we would work till like 3 in the morning. I know on Queen Anne, the shops team were working till the early hours of the morning the day before I actually embarked, along with loads of other press and people, because I think a delivery was delayed or there was a lot of stuff that was delayed. So then they were working it into the night, trying to get it done, like literally the day before. It was the same on Virgin. I'm sure it was the same on Sun Princess, because it's the same on every single ship. And it's funny, I remember walking around the Scarlet Lady like 2 days before we had people on board, and I was like, there is still like scaffolding. Like there's no way that in 2 days this is going to be ready. And I don't know, it just happens. It's almost like magic. It just, everyone pulls their weight and the ship comes together. But yeah, those contracts where I set up a ship and launched a ship, I would say that they were my most exhausting contracts because, well, the reasons that I've just said. The stress, the long hours, the constant deliveries, but also some of my absolute favourite because, you know, the banter, the excitement, the pride that you feel because you've helped launch this new cruise ship. It's a real roller coaster. Like, cruise ships are a roller coaster anyway, but if you go on a brand new one, like, honey, you have signed up for the roller coaster of all roller coasters. So then, what about going on a more established ship? Well, the pros, of course, that you are just going to come in and slot straight into a well-oiled machine. You're going to get on, your manager's going to tell you exactly what they expect from you because they know what they need from you because this cruise ship is so well established, which means that you're going to have a clear brief and a clear set of goals that you need to hit. Whereas you go on a brand new ship and often it's a bit wishy-washy, like everyone's trying to figure it out, so you're like, what do you want from me? And of course there is an element of stress going on a new ship, whether it's your first cruise ship or whether it's, you know, your 5th cruise ship. There's always anxiety because it's like, you know, am I going to make friends? Am I going to enjoy the job? Is the ship going to be good? But it's a lot less anxiety or a lot less worry when it's a well-oiled machine. And because of that, your job is made a lot less stressful. Like me and Emma and Fraser, who went on the P&O Aurora cruise, and I mean the whole gang was saying how incredible the service was, and it really was, because everyone just knew what they were doing. It was just such a well-oiled machine. Just tell that the crew weren't stressed because they knew exactly what to do, they knew exactly where everything was, which obviously makes the passenger experience that much better because you can relax knowing that the crew have got you. You know, they're not running around like headless chickens. And going off from that, you will not be working till 3 in the morning. And if you go on a new ship, that's not going to be an everyday occurrence, but it might happen once or twice. You go on an older ship, you're going to work the hours that you're expected to work. You're not going to have any sporadic extensions to your work day. Another thing is older ships don't have as many eyes on them. The cruise line are always going to be paying close attention to the brand new cruise ships. And the reason this is great if you're on an older ship is because there's going to be less inspections, less rules. Like the rules on board are going to be so much more lenient than if you go on a brand new cruise ship. It often means that getting off in port as well is easier because there's less restrictions when it comes to immigration. I don't know why that is, but it just seems to be the way. Brand new ships, especially in America, they can be really funny about crew getting off, whereas an older ship, they're like, yeah, get off, it's fine, it's all good. When I was on P&O Oceania, we very rarely had inspections from our head office, whereas when I was on Virgin Voyages, there was a lot of inspections from our head office. So if you go on an older ship, it's just generally more relaxed in every scenario. People know what they're doing. The cruise line has kind of forgotten about you. The cons of working on an older cruise ship then, it's not as exciting. There's not an electric buzz. There's not an amazing atmosphere. It's a bit dull, or it can be a bit dull. It depends on what ship you go on. But you know, P&O Oceania, for example, the crew life, meaning crew bar and all of that, was not as good as it was on Virgin Voyages, for example. You know, speaking to crew members who are working on P&O Aurora, the crew life was not as good as it was on Queen Anne, for example. Not that I think it was particularly popping on Queen Anne, but it was better than it was on the older ships. But you tend to find, not always, but you tend to find that older, more established crew members who have been working on cruise ships for 5 year plus, they're not that bothered about crew bar. They've been there, they've done it, they just want to kind of go to work, do their bit, and go to bed. Whereas you do find on newer cruise ships, you tend to have newer and younger crew members. Therefore, you know, crew bar and the crew life is just a little bit more, it's got a little bit more pizzazz. Those are the pros and cons. I hope if you are having to make a decision, then this helps you make a decision. And if you have worked and helped launch a brand new cruise ship, or if you've been on more established ships, please let us know in the comments, you know, pros and cons that you found, because it's interesting. I want to know, the people want to know, so please let us know below. But I can honestly say I have thoroughly enjoyed every single cruise ship. I mean, Virgin was obviously brand new. Disney Wish, I didn't launch it, but it was a pretty new ship when I was on there. Whereas, you know, when I went on Harmony, when I went on Royal Caribbean Legend of the Seas, back when I worked for Steiner, that was an old ship. P&O Oceania, old. And there really are pros and cons. P&O Oceania, I have never had so much time off in my life. I was basically on vacation because it was such an established ship, and obviously it had a good itinerary with lots of late sails. That's what you really want. But because it was so established, it was really, really, really relaxed. And I just had a great time. Like I said, I was basically cruising for 6 months. Whereas, you know, Virgin was hard work. It was hard work, especially at the start. But oh my god, wasn't it the best time of my life? Yes! So whatever you choose, there are gonna be these pros and cons to it. But like I said, I hope you found this video helpful. And yeah, I I will see you in the next video. But if you have any video suggestions, anything you want to see, I know a lot of you have been asking for interviews with crew members. I really want to do that. Like, I love interviewing crew members, and I know that you guys want to see it. The only thing is one, finding crew members that like want to be interviewed and want to be on a public platform, because obviously it's not for everyone. Also, if they still work for a cruise line, it's knowing whether the cruise line would be okay with them doing an interview, because some cruise lines are still a little bit funny. Please leave me your video suggestions. I do look at them. I do have them on my little list, and if I haven't like fulfilled them yet, it's because, you know, there's something stopping me, there's something in the way, but I really do want to make content that you want to see. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.